Hi everybody, welcome to Wise Guys this morning. On Tuesday we are going to be talking about a fun little project today. These are dimensional flowers. We usually do a little more quilty things. This is a little bit more crafty, but kind of a fun project. This time of year, as we think spring and think flowers, it's an interesting time to do some projects like maybe make an Easter bonnet, put some cute little flowers onto a little girl's headband, bracelet, wedding accessories, purses, a nice easy way to do a decoration for something fun. So we're going to talk about how to make these. In order to make these flowers, we start with squares. This is a 4-inch square, makes a flower this size. I just cut some 4-inch, some 3-inch, some 2-inch. The 2-inch size makes this little guy, which actually fits really nicely in the center of the 4-inch if you want to do double layers of flowers. So we start with squares, and I'm going to demo on this big size so you can see easier what I'm doing. You need 5 squares, all the same size. Again, I'm using a 4-inch for demo. And I'm going to just fold it like this and press. And that's going to give me this. And then I'm going to fold it this way and press, and that's going to give me this piece. I need 5 of these pieces, and when I am ready to stitch, I'm going to trim these corner points off. I'm going to just take my scissors and trim off a little bit of each point. It just makes for a little bit less bulk when you're stitching. So you're going to have 5 of these. And then I'm going to show you how I stitch them. First I'm going to show you my favorite needle threader. I am going to use black thread so you can see what I'm doing. Normally you would color match your thread to your flowers. I have my tabletop needle threader, and this is just Aurifil cotton thread. And the way that the needle threader works is you just lay the thread through the slot, pull it down, don't hold it, and then take your needle. And I am using number 12 hand applique needles. They're very small. You tend to think bigger stitches, bigger needle, but quilters kind of laugh and say that needle's so big it could be a crowbar. You want a fine needle, it'll go through the fabric easier, slide through and make your stitching easier. So I take the eye of the needle and I put it down into this hole, and I just push this little button. And of course, I did this 6 times, it worked every time. And now that I'm re-recording, it doesn't. There we go. And what it does is brings out that little loop inside through the eye of the needle, and I just pull that and my needle is threaded. And I give myself a little bit of length here. And then I'm going to just tie a quilter's knot. And so I'm going to lay that thread across my finger, hold it, wrap the thread around my finger, and then roll this off the edge, hold the knot, and pull, and that'll give me a nice quilter's knot right at the end. And I'm going to take my first petal. Again, I have my corners cut off, and I want to always start and finish on the top, which means I'm going to go down from the top here, and at the end I'm going to be coming out the top. And I'm just going to do a real simple little running stitch here. They don't have to be pretty. They just need to be fairly big stitches. I'm going to do a few more and then I'll hold it up close to the camera for you to see. These stitch pretty quickly because it just is a fast running stitch. It does not, as I said, have to be neat or even. It just needs to get it connected. And then I come out with my needle on the top. Okay, and so I have a row of running stitches along here, and when I pull this, it gathers, and that forms the petal of my flower. And then I grab my next one, and I do the same thing. Again, I come down from the top, and just do a little bit of a running stitch and just keep sliding that in. These, sometimes you'll see them called petals on a string, and the reason for that you'll see in just a minute when I get this next one done here. I'm going to do one last stitch there. And they end up, all your petals end up on a string, and then you pull them, and that creates your petals. So I'm going to just switch over to one I already did here, and this is 5 petals on a string, and they are all set, and I'm going to just start to pull them, and as I pull them they all gather in really nicely, and I want to be careful not to break my thread, but I want to get them pulled in nice and tight, and that creates my flower. And so once I've got them gathered, I'm going to just take my needle and again pull that nice and tight, and I'm going to do a little lock stitch right there. Oop. And then I'm going to connect these 2 petals together, and I'm just grabbing a little bit of the fabric and I'm just pulling those 2 together, and give it a good pull. Make sure it's nice and snug, and that creates your flower. You'll have a few little fuzzes in there to trim out, but that's how the flower is made. And then I can layer them if I want to. Get just a really cute multicolor flower, and I can even take that other big one that I did and have 3 layers. They get a little thick, but you can decide how many layers you want. Once I've got this done, I take a button that I like, and I can either hot glue or use like an E6000 glue to hold that button in place, so you get a cute little center on your flower. The other thing that you can do is, I started with squares. You can also start with circles. This one is just a series of circles folded in half and in half again, so it's a quarter, with my curve to the outside. And this one I've got 6 petals on and did them in different colors. So when I gather this, my flower becomes, my petals become multicolored. So you can do all kinds of fun things with this. The other thing that you can do is create a little leaf to go behind. I can just take a square of fabric. This is a 5-inch square. Again, no magic, whatever you like. And I'm going to fold it not quite in half. I'm leaving myself a little space around the edge so that I have a flat edge here. And then I just fold this in, and that gives me the look of a leaf. So I can run a running stitch here and gather that in a little bit if I want to. I don't have to, again, my choice. This one I've just got pinned, and obviously too big for the little 2-inch flower. This is my 3-inch purple flower, still pretty big for that one, but it's a good size for this cute one. So I can have a little leaf coming out one side. I could add a couple leaves, so it's just fun to play with. They're great to do for little Easter bonnets, add them to a little girl's hat or headband. You can also do a cloth band and make it a little bracelet. You can use them for accessories on the sash of a dress for like homecoming, or even a wedding for a little flower girl's dress. Cute on a sash or a band. They're fun to sew onto zippy pouches, and also around the top of purses, thinking events like a homecoming dance, something like that would be really cute to add them to a purse. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for joining us today.